Biodiversity is having a wide range of plants and animals available so that they can balance each other out within the ecosystem and each provide different roles that they fulfill to help one another.
So ecosystems around the world help to provide all our food, they provide our water, they even provide the air we breathe. So you might have that in a pond at a small scale and how many things live in a pond, or you might have an entire rainforest.
Plant environments are some of the most biodiverse regions in the world. I look at the diversity of the world's first forests and compare them to the diversity of the forests we have now. I work in paleobotany, so that is like dinosaurs but for plant fossils. So I work with fossil plants from about 360 million years ago.
My work is looking specifically at Britain and Ireland's biodiversity in the past. By looking at past populations of carnivores, we can see which were important. The UK is currently having a lot of conversations about which animals to reintroduce, specifically carnivores. So wolves could be a great potential reintroduction for the UK because they offer lots of benefits as a keystone species. So not only do they help with deer, keeping the numbers down, they also help with things like seed dispersal and leaving carcasses behind, which can be great for smaller carnivores as well.
Unfortunately, today we face a mass extinction or a biodiversity crisis. The herbivores we know and love, such as elephants and rhinos, are facing extinction and we may lose them. The hope is that we can learn from the consequences of these previous extinctions to prevent these from happening again. I studied the extinction of large herbivores from the Ice Age, from giant ground sloths to glyptogons, which are like armoured tortoises, to elephants with 3 tusks. The goal is to help influence policy, for example, by protecting large herbivores in Colombia today, such as the mountain tapir. I love what I do because it allows me to work with animals. It gives me the possibility to work with zoos and work with the giant herbivores that are still alive.
A conservation scientist is somebody who normally wants to protect species. We want to stop animals from going extinct. So we work to try and understand how those animals live and how their environment is, so we can try and save them in the long term. The frogs I study live in wetlands in South Africa, and what we're really keen to try and do is understand what else lives in those wetlands as well as the frogs. I think in conservation particularly, and working towards saving a species, I feel like I'm having an impact and hopefully makes the world a better place.
I get to go to Svalbard in the Arctic Circle to study these fossils and find these fossils. There are polar bears, something that you only ever see on a David Attenborough documentary. You have to carry a polar bear protection to make sure you don't end up polar bear breakfast. You can't put a forest in your suitcase and take it home, sadly. Instead, we can use photos to create a 3D model of the forest, which allows us to take the forest home and study it. Surprisingly, you use a lot of creative skills in science. I spend a lot of my time drawing because I have to take these trees and reconstruct them.
Like a bit of creative writing can be good just for making the stories come to life and be more interesting, engaging.
I love using my drawing and illustration graphic skills to communicate my science.
I've come from a working class background, and you don't need to have lots of money because you're often funded to do this. You get paid to go to these really, really cool places.
I come from a working class family and the first generation of my family to go to university.
As a researcher who's autistic, a lot of traits associated with neurodivergence, so things like autism and ADHD, are actually really beneficial within research. I've found it really accommodating, and I feel like people are really understanding. Sometimes the best science comes out is when we're kind of combining our different ways of thinking. We're all working really hard to save these animals and these species that we love. And the more and more people that are engaged and interested in this, the more hope we have for a brighter future.
You don't need to get straight A's to be a scientist. I ended up with B's and C's in my GCSE, and I even had a B at A-level biology.
I initially went in trying to do chemistry, physics, like maths, and I was terribly bad at all of them. And now I use it pretty much every day in my PhD. I just needed to learn differently.
So I think you don't always have to enjoy school to necessarily be a good researcher. If there's something you find really interesting and you want to find out more about it, there's almost definitely a PhD in it in the future.